Port Charles had seen death before. Too much death. But nothing prepared the city for the sight that greeted the police on the docks just before sunrise. Rain hammered the harbor in violent sheets. Red and blue lights reflected across the black water while officers rushed to secure the scene. A crowd gathered behind the barricades, whispering nervously as detectives pushed through the chaos. And lying face down near the edge of Pier 55 was Cullum, dead, a single gunshot wound to the chest. No witnesses, no weapon, and one chilling message carved into the wet wood beside the body. Rocco was only the beginning. By the time the news reached General Hospital, panic had already started spreading through Port Charles like wildfire. Because everyone knew one thing. Cullum had been obsessed with Rocco Falconeri, and now that Cullum was dead, the terrifying question became unavoidable. Who would come after Rocco next? At the Metro Court, Dante nearly shattered his phone when Anna called. "What do you mean Cullum's dead?" Dante demanded, pacing furiously across the suite. Anna's voice remained calm, but barely. "He was murdered sometime between midnight and 2 a.m. Mac is processing the scene now." Dante froze. Was Rocco mentioned? A heavy silence answered him. Then Anna finally said the words that made Dante's blood run cold. "Yes." Lulu immediately noticed the color drain from Dante's face. "What happened?" she whispered. Dante looked at her with terror in his eyes. "Cullum's dead." Lulu stumbled backward. For weeks, Cullum had stalked their family from the shadows. He had threatened Rocco repeatedly, manipulated Danny, terrorized Britt, and somehow always stayed one step ahead of the PCPD. Now he was gone. It should have been over. Instead, Lulu suddenly felt more afraid than ever. "Who killed him?" she whispered. Dante shook his head slowly. "We don't know." But deep down, both of them understood the horrible truth. Cullum's death didn't feel like justice. It felt like the beginning of something worse. Meanwhile, at General Hospital, Rocco sat alone in the chapel. He hadn't slept all night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Cullum's face again. The threats, the screaming, the horrifying moment Cullum grabbed him near the boathouse 2 weeks earlier. Rocco kept trying to convince everyone he was fine. But he wasn't. Not even close. The chapel doors creaked open softly behind him. Britt walked in carefully. She looked exhausted herself. Ever since Cullum targeted the people around her, guilt had consumed her. She blamed herself for dragging everyone into danger, especially Rocco. "You shouldn't be alone," Britt said gently. Rocco stared at the floor. "Everyone keeps saying that." Britt sat beside him quietly. Then Rocco asked the question no one else dared to ask. "Do you think someone killed Cullum because of me?" Britt's expression tightened instantly. "No," but she answered too quickly. Rocco noticed. "You hesitated." "Rocco? He told me something before the last time I saw him." Britt slowly turned toward him. "What did he say?" Rocco swallowed hard. "He said if anything happened to him, someone else would finish what he started." Britt's heart nearly stopped. "What?" Rocco nodded shakily. "He said I'd never feel safe again." Before Britt could respond, the chapel doors burst open. Dante stormed inside. "Rocco!" Rocco jumped to his feet as Dante rushed over and pulled him into a fierce hug. "You okay?" Rocco nodded weakly, but Dante could feel him trembling, and that terrified him more than anything. Across town, Anna Devane stood over Cullum's body while forensic teams continued gathering evidence. Mac approached carefully. "You're not gonna like this." Anna looked up immediately. "What is it?" Mac handed her a small evidence bag. Inside was a silver chess piece, a black king. Anna's face changed instantly. "Oh no," Mac frowned. "You recognize it?" Anna nodded slowly. "Years ago, the WSB investigated a contract network called the Kingdom." Mac crossed his arms. "And?" Anna looked back at Cullum's corpse. "They left black chess pieces at every execution." Mac stared at her. "You think they killed Cullum?" "I think Cullum may have worked for them." Mac's expression darkened immediately. And if that's true, Anna's voice dropped. Then Rocco's in far more danger than we realized. Hours later, Sonny Corinthos received a visitor he never expected, Jason Morgan. Jason closed the penthouse door behind him. You heard? Sonny nodded grimly. Yeah, Cullum's dead. Jason remained silent for several seconds. Then he finally said, This wasn't random. Sonny narrowed his eyes. You know something? Jason stepped closer. 3 months ago, I intercepted intel about a trafficking route tied to the WSB black market. Cullum's name appeared once. Sonny's jaw tightened. You didn't tell me. I couldn't verify it. Sonny poured himself a drink, furious. And now? Jason looked him dead in the eye. Now I think Cullum was disposable. Sonny slowly lowered the glass. Meaning? Jason's voice turned cold. Someone bigger is coming. That night, Rocco tried pretending everything was normal. He sat at the Quartermain mansion with Danny and Scout while Olivia brought dinner into the dining room. But the atmosphere felt wrong. Too quiet, too tense. Every adult in the room kept watching the windows, watching the doors, watching him. Finally, Rocco slammed his fork down. Stop looking at me like that. Everyone froze. I'm not gonna break, he shouted. Olivia rushed toward him. Honey, no. Everyone keeps whispering and acting scared and pretending I don't notice. Danny stood slowly. Rocco. But Rocco's emotions exploded. Cullum's dead because of me. That's not true, Dante snapped immediately. You don't know that. The room fell silent. Rocco's breathing became uneven. Then he whispered the words that shattered Lulu's heart. What if whoever killed him comes after all of us now? Nobody answered, because nobody could honestly promise otherwise. Later that evening, Anna returned home exhausted. But the second she stepped inside her apartment, she knew something was wrong. The lights were off, the windows were open, and sitting on her coffee table was another black chess piece. Anna slowly reached for her weapon. Then a distorted voice echoed from the darkness. You should stop investigating Cullum. Anna spun toward the hallway. Who's there? A figure stepped partially into the light, tall, black coat, face hidden. You're too late, the voice continued. Anna raised her gun immediately. Don't move. But the figure laughed softly. You still don't understand what this is. Anna's finger tightened on the trigger. What do you want with Rocco? Silence. Then the figure finally answered. He belongs to us now. The light suddenly exploded. Glass shattered everywhere. Anna ducked instinctively, and when the smoke cleared, the figure was gone, leaving only one thing behind, a photograph of Rocco sleeping in his bedroom, taken hours earlier. The next morning, Dante nearly tore the Falconeri house apart, installing additional security, cameras, motion sensors, armed guards outside. But nothing eased Lulu's fear, especially after Anna arrived carrying the photograph. Lulu covered her mouth in horror. Oh my God! Dante looked seconds away from murder. They were inside this house? Anna nodded grimly. At some point last night. Rocco overheard everything from the staircase, and for the first time, true terror consumed him. Not fear of Cullum, fear of something invisible, something smarter, something impossible to escape. At the PCPD, Chase and Mac continued digging through Cullum's records. Most files were wiped clean, but one encrypted folder survived. Chase finally cracked it, and instantly wished he hadn't. What the hell? Mac walked over. What did you find? Chase stared at the screen. It's a list. Of what? Chase swallowed hard. Children. Mac's face went pale. The list included dozens of names, runaways, foster kids, teenagers from multiple states. Some marked transferred, others marked inactive. Then Chase spotted a familiar name, Rocco Falconeri. A red symbol appeared beside it. Mac whispered, "Oh God." What does the symbol mean? Neither man spoke, because another file had already answered that question. Priority acquisition. Back at General Hospital, Britt confronted Anna privately. You need to tell them everything. Anna looked conflicted. We still don't know enough. Enough? Britt snapped. Someone photographed Rocco sleeping. Anna rubbed her temples. The kingdom doesn't just target random people. If they marked Rocco, there's a reason. Britt froze. What kind of reason? Anna hesitated too long, and Britt immediately understood. No. Anna looked away. Years ago, intelligence agencies uncovered rumors about illegal behavioral conditioning experiments. Britt stared at her in horror. Children? Anna nodded once. Gifted children, vulnerable children, isolated children. Britt's voice shook. You think Rocco was chosen? Anna's silence said everything. That evening, Dante finally lost control. He stormed into Sunny's penthouse demanding answers. You knew something bigger was happening. Sunny stood slowly. I didn't know this. You always know something. Jason stepped between them before things escalated. Dante, listen to me carefully. Dante glared at him. Jason continued. If this group wants Rocco, they won't stop. Lulu entered moments later and heard everything. What does that mean? Jason's face hardened. It means Cullum wasn't hunting Rocco for revenge. A terrible silence filled the room. Then Jason said the one thing nobody was prepared to hear. He was delivering him. Lulu nearly collapsed. No? Dante turned toward Jason furiously. You better explain that right now. Jason nodded grimly. The kingdom recruits psychologically damaged operatives. Sometimes they start young, very young. Sunny cursed under his breath. Lulu shook uncontrollably. Why Rocco? Jason looked toward the window. Because someone believes he's valuable. Dante slammed his fist against the wall. He's a kid. To them, Jason replied coldly, he's an asset. Meanwhile, somewhere outside Port Charles, a hidden figure watched live security footage of the Falconeri house. Multiple screens showed every angle of the property, every guard, every entrance, every weakness. Another figure entered the dark room quietly. Cullum failed. The first voice remained calm. He served his purpose. And the boy? A long silence followed. Then the figure finally smiled. Trauma makes transformation easier. The second figure hesitated. What if the family resists? The answer came instantly. Then more people die. 2 days later, Port Charles attempted to move on, but fear followed Rocco everywhere. At school, classmates whispered about Cullum's murder. Teachers watched him nervously. Even his friends seemed afraid to speak normally around him. Then came the moment that changed everything. Rocco opened his locker and found another black chess piece inside. Attached was a note. Your nightmare is just beginning. Rocco's scream echoed through the hallway. Chaos erupted instantly. The school went into lockdown. Dante arrived within minutes, nearly hysterical. But Rocco couldn't stop shaking. He clutched the note so tightly his hands bled. They found me again, he whispered repeatedly. Lulu held him while crying herself. It's okay. No, it's not, Rocco shouted suddenly. Everyone froze. Rocco looked completely broken now. I can't do this anymore. Dante's heart shattered, because for the first time, he saw genuine hopelessness in his son's eyes. That night, Rocco secretly packed a bag. He moved quietly through the house while everyone slept. He couldn't stay. Everywhere he went, people got hurt. Cullum died. Britt nearly died. Danny got threatened. His parents were falling apart, and now strangers were stalking him. Rocco wiped tears from his face as he opened the back door. Then a voice stopped him cold. You're making a mistake. Rocco spun around. Jason stood in the shadows. How long have you been there? Long enough. Rocco looked away. I can't stay here. Jason stepped closer carefully. Yes, you can. No, I can't. Jason lowered his voice. Running is exactly what they want. Rocco's eyes filled with tears. They won't stop. Jason nodded once. I know. Then how do I survive this? Jason stared at him for several long seconds. Then he answered honestly. You don't survive alone. At sunrise, Anna finally uncovered the truth behind Cullum's final hours. Security footage from a warehouse outside town revealed Cullum arguing violently with another operative shortly before his death. The audio was damaged, but one sentence came through clearly. Cullum shouted, "You don't understand what that boy is capable of." Anna replayed the clip repeatedly. What did he mean? Capable of what? Before she could investigate further, her phone rang. It was Dante. Anna answered instantly. What happened? Dante's breathing sounded frantic. Rocco's gone. Anna froze. What? He disappeared 20 minutes ago. Panic exploded across Port Charles. Sonny mobilized his men immediately. Jason searched the docks. Anna coordinated roadblocks with Mac. Lulu completely fell apart, but nobody realized the horrifying truth until hours later. Rocco had not been abducted. He had turned himself in. At an abandoned church outside town, Rocco stood trembling before a hooded figure. "I came alone," Rocco whispered. The figure stepped forward slowly. "You're smarter than Cullum said." Rocco fought tears. "Leave my family alone." The figure tilted its head curiously. "You'd sacrifice yourself for them?" "Yes." A soft laugh echoed through the chapel. "That's exactly why you were chosen." Rocco's face crumpled. "I don't want this." The figure approached closer. "You don't understand your importance yet." Then another voice suddenly exploded through the darkness. "He doesn't belong to you." Gunfire erupted instantly. Jason stormed inside with Dante beside him. The hooded operatives scattered. Rocco screamed as bullets shattered stained glass around him. Dante tackled his son to the ground protectively while Jason returned fire. One attacker fell instantly. Another escaped through the back exit, and the leader vanished completely. Seconds later, silence consumed the church. Smoke drifted through broken sunlight. Rocco clung to Dante, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry." Dante held him tighter than ever before. "You never apologize for trying to protect this family." But Jason's expression remained grim, because near the altar, another message had been painted across the wall in black ink. "He will come back to us willingly." Days later, Port Charles remained on edge. Cullum's death was no longer the story. Rocco was. News spread fast, rumors multiplied, and everywhere Rocco went, he felt eyes watching him. But the worst part wasn't the fear anymore, it was the uncertainty. Because deep inside, one terrifying question refused to disappear. Why had Cullum believed Rocco was special? Late one night, Rocco sat alone staring at the black chess piece Anna had recovered. His mind replayed Cullum's final words over and over. "You don't know who you really are." Rocco squeezed his eyes shut. Then suddenly, a memory flashed in his head. A room, bright lights, voices, someone saying, "Subject responding successfully." Rocco gasped violently. The memory vanished instantly, but the terror remained, because he had never seen that room before. Had he? The camera slowly pulled away from Rocco sitting alone in darkness, and outside his bedroom window, a distant figure watched silently from across the street, waiting, smiling, because Cullum may have died, but Rocco's nightmare was only beginning.